Welcome to Try to Thrive, the podcast where passion meets endurance and every finish line is just the beginning. We're here to inspire, challenge, and share our journey through swim, bike, run, and beyond.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Try to Thrive. Welcome everybody. My name is Dennis and I'm sitting here with Chris. Chris, short hi from your side.
Hello everyone and welcome. Finally back in Kraków.
Yeah, finally back with you here.
Yes, finally.
It was awful. I missed you so much.
Yeah, likewise.
And I hope also our listeners, you were also maybe a little bit missing us. But first, let me introduce what we are talking about today. And for those of you watching it on YouTube, you can see my shirt. And that's what we are talking about today. It's Ride Smart, Cycling Etiquette, Gear and Gains. And Chris already showed you also his beautiful bike.
Yes.
He's not getting money from the company producing it to show it here. He's just showing it because it's his bike and he takes very well care of it.
That's why it can stand inside of the house actually. Because
Exactly.
It's always clean. I just oiled the chain.
Yeah. You love it. You love it.
Yes.
So what are we going to talk about today? First of all, we want to talk about cycling etiquette. So if you want to start cycling, to give you some information, how to ride on the road in a way that it's safe for yourself, for other people on the road, how to ride on group rides. And then we want to talk also a little bit about the law. That's very important. Chris and I, we are from Germany. We live in Poland. And we can tell you already.
There are differences.
There are differences, exactly. Then we get to a topic that is for sure very interesting for Chris. Gear.
Yes, I love gear.
So there's the tech nerd. And then we want to finish about the gains. Also, I'm getting back to German. Also, we're going to talk about the gains. So how to train, especially for newbies, how to get in, because I think Chris and I, we can describe ourselves as people that are relatively new to it.
Yeah.
Chris is in his first year. I'm in my second year after a longer break, we can say, of hard trainings in cycling. So that's the plan for today. If you want to get to know more about these topics, we would be very happy to have you as listener until the end. And if you can give us some feedback, if you have some other ideas, share what you think. I would like to start about a short story about cycling.
Okay. Tell me.
Because when I went on a holiday to France 3 years ago, and I'm very into cycling. I was always into cycling. I was always a little bit of cycling, and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna ride my bike in the Alps. And I went up the most famous mountain in France. Which one is it?
I am very bad in geography.
Yeah, you will only know it when you watch cycling.
Okay.
For those of you interested into cycling, following Tadej Pogačar, Jonas Vingegaard, and Tour de France, you will know which mountain I am talking about. It's l'Alpe d'Huez.
Oh.
You know that one, Chris?
No.
You don't know that one?
Not at all.
It's the most famous. Oh, in my opinion, it's the most famous, but there are also other famous mountains. So I went up there. We should put in a picture of me being on top. I looked a little bit different than now. I was like a little bit bigger, not in muscles, but fat, because didn't train much back then. But I went up the whole mountain and it was just beautiful. And when I think about cycling, then that's what I like to remember, because it's nature, it's going close to your edge, where you have to go very, very hard, but you can still enjoy going up a mountain, and that was just beautiful. So that's one story I would like to share just now in the beginning. And Chris, maybe you have also a story a very positive story of cycling you can share.
Cycling. So I started my journey with a lot of mountain biking. So I was not the racing guy until I started training for triathlon. So I still have that in the garage, super old bike. And then I can share a story how I get this bike. That was a little bit of a hassle, going back and forth to Germany when I changed my role to Poland. Anyway, let's skip this one. What I like about biking, I can agree what you were saying, that you're close to the nature, especially when you go into the mountains. It is a lot of effort, but the stunning views are always rewarding at the end. So this is what I like. I hate it the moment I'm cycling up the hill, but then if you reach the top, it's always nice. So this is what I remember from mountain biking. What I like now on the racing bike is flat, fast tracks. I love it.
Oh yeah, me too. I like that too.
Yeah.
I like to go fast. It's also easier for me because I'm relatively heavy. I weigh 82, 83 kilograms. So it's not so easy to go up Alpe d'Huez, where I have to go with very slow speed already with 250 or 300 watts. So yeah, I like it flat too.
and 200 heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't get that high anymore. Yeah, so I'm sure if you never been on a bike ride, if you haven't done it, at least you have a feeling how cool it is for us and why we like to go on the bike and be close to nature and work out. And the good thing about cycling is also when you're on top, you can roll down. And when it's flat, you can also roll. You can be relatively fast without putting much effort in it. And when you run, it's different. When you run, you have to run. When you swim, you have to swim. It's hard all the time.
Yeah, that's true. So although maybe some negative things about biking, when the weather is not so nice as it is right now, as you can see here in Krakow, beautiful weather, good temperatures. It's June, so it should be like this. So winter times, where do you bike? How do you bike?
So when there is winter in Europe, the last time I went to the other side of the world to have summer again.
That's a quick win.
And I rode my bike in New Zealand.
That's
for 6 weeks. Of course, not everyone can do that. I cannot do that every winter, I think. But yeah, it's very hard to ride your bike in the winter. We will for sure talk about that during the gear part. We talk about gear and gains.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that was a very nice intro. Thank you for that, Chris, for your story. I would like to continue now with the next topic we have, with the etiquette. And yeah, why is it important? Why do we talk just in the beginning about etiquette? So usually if you go on a bike, yeah, for sure there are always different people involved because you're on the street. You're never alone on the street. And if you go on a group ride, yeah, there will be also other people. And very often, yeah, not everyone is on the same level, but also on the same level how to control the bike or how to know, yeah, what can you do, what should you do, what you shouldn't do on the bike, on the street. So that's why we want to talk about the etiquette. And I would like to ask Chris first, what do you think is the right etiquette when you go on a bike in general, if you bike alone, and then maybe the second part of the question when you go on a group ride?
So as I am on the bike, I know myself that I am weaker than most probably cars. So I need to be careful. So etiquette for me is always be aware of what is surrounding you and expect mistakes done by other people. So
yeah, mistakes are always done, right? Everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Like, everyone makes mistakes, and I totally agree. We as cyclists, we are a little bit weaker, and we can make mistakes. A car driver can make a mistake. I believe that the first important thing in this etiquette is try to signal clearly and ride smoothly. So if you go a certain way and you know you have to change the direction, or you're overtaking something and you're on the road, you're alone. Yeah, always signal clearly for everyone that is following, so that they know there is a change happening. That's something. Yeah, I believe usually most people do, but sometimes people tend to forget that in moments when they believe it's not that important right now. And I'm not saying that I always signal clearly. I also had moments on the road when I didn't do that. And it's very important to always remember that this is so important, because someone cannot be aware of your change of direction or whatever. So signal clearly and don't do any sudden movements. When you follow your lane, don't jump right, left. So if you have like your distance to the right side, keep it the same way. We will talk about the law a little bit later. So what is mandatory? What is the distance mandatory, or this distance recommended? And yeah, Chris, would you like to add anything for this part? Riding alone?
Riding alone, yeah. So especially when we are biking with aero bars, I think it is sometimes can get us a little bit in danger as well. So we need to be extra carefully. Or you mentioned sudden movements. Sudden movements for me, for example, is drinking.
Exactly.
So I know myself, when I take my bottle and I'm going to drink it from the bottle, I know that I go to the left side. So if I take my bottle with my right hand and I'm drinking, I change my direction to the left side. And I mean, if I don't know what is behind me, and if there is a car, he's not expecting me that I'm going to change suddenly the direction in the middle of the lane. So you need to be careful. You need to know what is behind you and then act and then drink or have some equipment around you that helps you. We come to that later, right? But
yeah, I would add, if you are aware that when you drink and you will go to the left side, you're left-handed, right?
Right-handed.
So you're right-handed, but you drink with your left hand, or
right hand.
Okay, so you drink with your right hand and you go to the left side, even if it's a little bit. Yeah, if you're aware of it, that's already great.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't do that, right? We shouldn't, because it can be a surprise situation, and then we come back to the topic that it can be that a driver makes a mistake and he will try to overtake us, and he doesn't leave enough space. We will talk about how much space someone has to leave us. Yeah, but then there is, again, like the opportunity for a bad accident.
Yeah. Maybe fun story to end your question regarding accidents that I think every one of you has had when you use click pedals. I just recently had it.
Can you explain what click pedals are for those that don't know it yet? What is a click pedal?
Okay, sure. So to better resonate your energy into your pedals, you need to have a fixed position with your shoes. So there are special pedals that can connect to your shoes directly. It's called cleats, that you mount on your shoes, so you will be directly attached to your pedals. But that means also you need to be aware when you need to get out of the pedals again, because there's a special movement to the outside of the pedal. Exactly, outside of the pedal. And of course, you can configure that. You can make it more loose. You can make it more tight. It depends on your style of riding. But if you don't do it at the right time, or you're a little bit too late, you are still attached to your pedals and then you fell down. Happened to me 2 months ago, and I was very angry at myself. New bike, and there's already some scratches, but happens. I think everyone has been there, but you are way more efficient. I think we talk about that in the gains.
Yeah. And I would like to add one thing, because when I started cycling, when I was a child actually in the cycling club, our trainer told us, you always click out with the right foot. You never click out, so you never go to the left side. You always click out on the right side, because there can always be the case that the car is coming. And you know that there are different people on the road, so they can hit you. But if you go to the right side, you will much likely will not be hit by the car, because you go away from the inside. Of course, if you are now riding your bike in England, it's different, or in New Zealand.
Okay,
I rode
sure.
it in New Zealand, then it would be the exact opposite. But in Germany, in Poland, in Europe, except UK, click out on the right side. That's for sure helpful.
Yeah, good point.
Good. And now we talked about when we are riding alone. In group rides, what is the etiquette in group rides? What should someone know if he or she goes the first time with other people in a group?
I'm not very experienced, to be honest. The only time, usually group ride for me was like with 2 or 3 people. So we did it. Our last group ride I made with you, if that's a group, if you can call it a group. Obviously, you try to ride behind a person quite near, because you want to benefit from the draft. But you need to be very careful. Very careful. And yeah, that's what you need to be aware of, that if you ride in a group and you ride very close behind each other, then it can be dangerous as well. So what you would need to know is how the other person is riding the bike. So if you know the person very well and you have done that more often, then it's easy. But if you do that with a random group, that can be dangerous.
Exactly. So if you ride the first time with someone, you don't know how they brake, and some people, they brake very abruptly.
Yeah.
Or some people, they stand up very quickly and go down, and it's like they throw their bike forward and back. So you need to be aware that new people, you don't know their riding style, and there is again the possibility to have an accident. But in general, if you sum that up, no abrupt braking, and keep your steady pace. Don't try to switch between standing and sitting and throw your bike back into the front. And that is very dangerous in a group ride. And if you don't know the person you're riding with in the beginning, maybe don't go too close to the wheel in front of you. But for sure, riding very closely to the back wheel makes it easier to ride, because you don't have this resistance of air that much. You can save up to 35% of your energy just doing the ride very closely to the person in front of you. One more thing I would like to add, if you ride behind someone, don't overlap wheels. So don't go left to the left side of the back wheel, because if there is a turn, they can abruptly go to the left side, and then there's again this possibility that there will be a crash. I had it already a few times in my life where I did that, and it can be very dangerous. So you shouldn't do it, especially not with people you don't know, because you don't know how they ride. And communicate with your other people. Usually you tend to show with your hands when there are like some potholes. Yes, when there are some potholes, anything on the road
Obstacles.
that can, some obstacles, or when there is a turn, or when you know that there is a car coming from the left or from the front, from behind. Whatever you see, you should communicate it vocally, but also if you can show something with your hand next to you, that people know, okay, don't ride this direction and ride behind me. Yeah, Chris, we will do more group rides and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You need to teach me.
Good. I would say in case of etiquette, so far that's everything from my side. Chris, anything you want to add?
I think that's it.
If you guys have anything I forgot or Chris forgot, share it please with us.
Let us know. We are here to learn as well.
Yes. Now we get to the next topic with law. And before we talk about the law, because when you ride the bike, there is, of course, law included that dictates us how we should ride the bike and what is mandatory, what is not mandatory. It's very important to know why, because it can also differ from country to country. Chris and I, we are from Germany. We live in Poland. There are differences we will talk about in a second. I was riding my bike in New Zealand for 6 weeks, and also there are differences. So that's something we need to be aware of when we ride in another country, that we take care of the law. But before we talk about the law, I want to share a story that is a very sad story because actually in Krakow, a physiotherapist, it was even my physiotherapist, Maja Demska is her name. She was also a triathlete that qualified for the World Championship in Marbella, 70.3 Ironman. And she actually had an accident on the road in Krakow on her time trial bike, where she was in a group with 3 people, and it got to the situation that a car overtook them and braked abruptly, and she wasn't able to hit her brakes so quickly, and had just this reaction that she went to the left side and went to the different direction of the traffic, and then she was hit by a car that came from the other side, and unfortunately she died that day, which is very, very sad. She was a great human being, very nice person, very happy person, and she loved cycling, she loved training, and she was always very helpful for everyone. And as a person, it's like it's a big loss, not only for the community we have in Krakow, but also for, of course, her family, her partner, and this happened everything on the road while she just training in the morning. And it's very sad, and that's why Chris and I, we want to talk about the law, and so that everyone can also be aware what we can do, what we should not do. Condolences go to the family, to her fiance, and we hope that that an accident like that will not happen anytime soon again in Krakow or anywhere in the world. Chris, law.
Yes.
Where do we want to start?
So where do we want to start? So actually, we need to be aware. I mean, we are part of the traffic. We already mentioned that. And a car has also every year some checks, and you need to fulfill it. Otherwise, you are not allowed to drive your car on the road. And there is also some requirements when it comes to bikes, because we are participating in that traffic. So I think what is very important to know is actually what is mandatory. What is mandatory if I ride a bike on the road?
Yeah, officially in Poland and Germany, what is mandatory? So it's not a helmet. You don't need to have a helmet, but it's recommended, and you should have a helmet. I never ride my bike without a helmet. In New Zealand, actually, helmet is required. But the law in Poland says that light, reflector, and bell is required.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. Chris, where are your reflectors on your bike?
I have none of these, what you just mentioned.
Yeah, I also don't have a light and a reflector. I also don't have a bell. But the law specifically states that it's mandatory. When I was riding in Germany, when I was a child and I was in the cycling club, no one had light, bell, reflectors. No one had that.
I mean, I think the law, it is a law, but we should differentiate a little bit. Are we riding when it's dawn? Are we riding in the dark? Or we are riding middays when it's bright, like now? There should, for me, be absolutely a differentiation.
Yeah, it's true. And I think there must be something where it's stated that during the day you don't need to have a light, because that's also something I found. But I found also the law that it's mandatory. So that's here the question: is it now mandatory? Is it not mandatory? I believe that it's not mandatory, because the bikes are not sold with a light. You get the reflectors, you get it separately when you buy the bike, but they're not connected to it. I think by EU law they have to put it in the sale, but you don't need to use it. That's actually one thing. Should we have a bell? Should we have these lights, Chris?
So I'm not only a cyclist, I'm also a driver. And if I see people when it's dark on the road that are not very much visible on the bike, I am getting angry. So I think for the light perspective, if we are planning to do a full day ride or, longer rides and we do not know exactly the timing once we reach home, then we should have at least lights in a backpack or somewhere, just to be sure, just to be seen in the dark. I think that's important.
I agree. When it's dark, yeah, you need a light. But what about during the day?
No,
No,
I don't think so.
and the backlight.
I don't think it's necessary.
It's very seldom that people have the light. But what about a bell? Because the law states that bell requirement is mandatory in Poland and Germany. I don't remember last time when I saw someone with a bell on a road bike.
I mean, I don't even have, we just talked about it before we had the podcast. I don't even have a space to put a bell. I don't know where I should put it. I have my voice, actually.
I found it in the law. I don't remember if it was in Poland or Germany, but it was stated that, yeah, it's not enough if you just say you use your voice.
I think, look, if we compare light between bell having as mandatory equipment, I would be up for having a bell, but for me it's just impractical to mount it somewhere. But I agree. I'm on that page as well. A bell actually is useful.
It's useful. But if you have a bell, will a car be able to hear you?
That's a good point.
I
Where
think-
do we drive with our bikes?
Yeah. And what's louder, a bell or me screaming?
We don't want to try that out on the podcast.
I think I'm louder.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I think I'm louder. So will the bell help me? Isn't it easier for me to just make a loud scream very quickly than using my hand to ring the bell? I think it will not help me much, the bell. If I think about it right now.
Let's say, okay, if you bike around a lake on a very sunny day and and especially on a weekend, and there's a lot of crowd and we are not talking about cars, then yes, a bell is useful because there are a lot of people with roller skates, running, whatever, right? Then I think it makes sense. But so far, the roads I'm driving or the ways I'm driving, I would have never used a bell.
Yeah.
So is it mandatory? Yes, in certain areas where we drive, but not on a road.
Actually, the law says it's mandatory to have on the bike.
That's a problem. I have a problem with the law.
So, but I don't think anyone enforces it. So that's again. But yeah, on the road, it will not help you much. But if you go somewhere where there are a lot of pedestrians, yeah, it's much nicer to use the bell. You will also not go as fast there. So, yeah, I think about these requirements we were talking. That's enough about bells. But now it gets to a very interesting point. Bike lanes. Because there are a lot of bike lanes in Germany, in Poland. Much more are getting here also in Poland, Krakow. So there's visibly a change in Europe that they build more and more bike lanes. But the question is, do we need always to ride on the bike lanes, Chris? Or should we always ride on the bike lanes? What do you think?
It's a good question. I mean, everything that you asked me so far, I would always say it depends. Why is that? I don't want to ride on a bike lane when there are a lot of slower people in front of me, and I always need to try to overtake and squeeze in. That is also dangerous. That puts me into a dangerous situation as well as other ones on that bike lane. So if I know I'm gonna ride fast, I should be riding on the street, my opinion. So again, if I am out with my mountain bike on a sunny day and I want to enjoy the ride, I can ride on a bike lane. That's fine. But on a racing bike with aero bars, no.
So what does the law say? And here, Germany and Poland is a little bit different. In Poland, Article 33, Ustawa 1 of him, so that would mean in English, right of movement on the street. You can call it like this. Cyclists must use a bike lane if one exists and is in the same direction. And then they added an exception if the bike lane is unsafe, obstructed, or not in the direction of travel. So that, in my opinion, gives a lot of space for interpretation, because on one side they say, you have to ride your bike on a bike lane, which says, okay, you have to be there, but then there is an exception if the bike lane is unsafe. Yeah, if I go on a road bike, my personal opinion now, and I'm able to ride my bike on a flat with 45, 47, 48 kilometers per hour.
You're fast.
I'm very fast. I'm almost as fast as a car. And if there is a bike lane and there are other bicycle riders that go in a very recreational way with 20 kilometers per hour, is it safe to go on the bike lane? Or if it's also a bike lane that is connected with pedestrians, is it safe to go there? In my opinion, I should be going on the road then. But how do people see that in Poland? I believe that the average person in Poland will be very angry that there is a cyclist going on the road, because he doesn't get that it's 45 kilometers per hour. He can go with 70 and he thinks, oh, wow, that is so slow. Why is he riding here? He should be riding on the bike lane.
Exactly. And to be very honest, I had exactly the same opinion. Before I turned into a cyclist, I was always angry. It's like, why are these people not riding on the bike lane? I don't understand it and I don't get it. I don't get the perception of it. But now if you put yourself into the shoes of the cyclist and you know what kind of tires we are using here, we also have some limitations. We cannot go on bumpy roads. Sometimes there are stones, sharp stones. Sometimes there are some glass things, and that gives us a flat tire. So it depends. And I'm finally happy that the law is now with us and say it depends.
Yeah, but is it really with us?
Thanks for riding along with us on this episode of Try to Thrive. We unpack the basics of cycling etiquette and scratch the surface on what the law expects us out there. Next week, we are continuing right where we left off. We will go deeper into the legal side of cycling, what's actually enforced, and what do you need to know to stay safe within the rule, especially when you are training hard or riding abroad. Once we cleared that up, we will roll into some of our favorite topics, gear and gains. Until then, ride safe, stay mindful, and as always, try to thrive.